for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It got obvious real quick that there's not going to be a lot of things that hold us back here. And when you're trying to lead your own program, that's a massive thing. You know, there's nothing that's going to – I haven't heard no a whole lot. And so that's a good thing when you're in the shoes I'm in.
All right, everybody, welcome back. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. What do we know about AJ Benesta? What do we know about
AJ Debansa?
Debansa.
He's the number one recruit in the country in the 2025
Does he
class.
know much about Utah except for the plays for Utah Elite?
He's going to be living here. Other than that, no.
In Hurricane? Am I getting that right?
Oops. Correct yourself quickly before we get emails.
No, listen, we're down in St. George 100 times a year, so I get it.
Hurricane. I'm so good at saying hurricane. Sometimes I'll actually pronounce the name hurricane as hurricane.
Hey, it's the Miami Hurricanes.
I am an idiot.
It's the Miami Hurricanes. And that's why the Carolina Hurricanes are...
The Miami Hurricane.
So, AJ Debansa, what do we know about his game? And does any college here in the state of Utah really have a shot?
I think BYU legitimately does.
Okay, here's what's a shock to me. That the number, is it 1.5 million that Igor Demin has been rumored to be attached to, that number?
That's what's being reported this. Okay. Jaeger Dolman, we're still trying to nail down the pronunciation. I believe I got it right this time.
Jaeger Dolman.
Jaeger Dolman.
Dolman.
Yeah. BYU apparently, but
1.5
million is how he got here.
So is that
in
for
NIL.
the entirety of what it's going to look like during his time in Provo?
Oh, well, he's not going to be here for more than a year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Are we saying that we're at the point now where a basketball recruit comes to play at BYU and could potentially be the third highest paid employee at BYU?
Yes. Welcome to a new era in BYU athletics.
Now, that was a misrepresentation. He's obviously not an employee at the university yet, right? However, I mean, we're talking about a guy who's making more money than the offensive coordinator, than the defensive coordinator in football. Likely, right? Almost getting up there to the head football coach's numbers. Am I getting this right? This sounds insane right now, right? This sounds insane, but this is where we are in 2024.
That used to be NBA money. That used to be NBA money. Not long ago either. In fact, we still see guys signing, minimum deals that are in that range.
What's his projection if he were to have a really, really good year at BYU, right?
Are we talking about Doman or Debansa?
Doman.
Yeah.
$1.5 million, probably going to be there 1 year, right? That's what his plan probably is, too.
That's the plan.
Is to get drafted and hopefully be a top 10, be a lottery pick. You get that money. Does BYU have a lottery guy playing for him now?
100%. Lock it up.
How big of a recruit is he compared to any other recruit who's come through BYU in their history?
Outside of Sean Bradley, it's the highest rated, highest potential prospect they've ever landed, ever.
What would Debansa be if he came here?
He might be the number one overall pick. Well, yes, he might be the number one overall pick when he's done, which would be 2026 draft. Because next year's Cooper Flagg.
Right.
Dabansa would be.
That's what I'm asking.
2026
between
Dabansa is the
Jaeger,
number one recruit.
Yes.
In the country in 2025, which would mean he could be the number one overall pick in 2026.
Give me
on how
all
he goes.
the projected 2026 NBA drafts in my inbox right now. No, but that's what we're looking at here.
It's mind-boggling and it's insane that BYU is in this conversation, but they are here.
Could you go Yegor Dumman, Cooper Flagg, AJ Dabansa, 3 years in a row at BYU? Like, to have one after the other. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, you'd have Jaeger Doman next season, and then go in the lottery, and then if you're able to land Dabansa, of course, Dabansa would come in a year later.
Right.
They would never play together, but let's assume that you land
And
Dabansa for $1.5
Right.
or $2 million. He just takes over that part of the collective, and then, yes, you could have 2 straight lottery picks at BYU.
And the Jazz figure out a way to get Cooper Flagg.
Well, figure out a way is to lose a lot, and I'm not sure BYU fans have the stomach for that.
No, assets, JJ. Assets.
I think are we past the point of asset accumulation or no?
I hope. No, that's what I'm saying.
Are we? Is it
Give 'em
going to
away.
be another summer of asset accumulation in Utah?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I don't know how much longer we can take that kind of stuff, right?
It's hard to have patience because you're sitting here watching. It feels like we're entering this era where there's opportunity, like there's not that dynasty out there, but yet it feels like the Jazz are so far away from competing with the teams that have been in it. Like a mile away.
All right. So
I hope I'm wrong about that. But
So
that's how it feels.
BYU could potentially have out of the next 3 years 2 of the
2
top
years.
the next 2 years.
Yes.
But 2 out of the next 3 top prospects in basically in the NBA drafts, projected NBA drafts, could be playing for BYU. But the reality of AJ Dabansa is what, though, coming to BYU? This is a guy who did not know. If you go and listen to Mitch
They have
Harper's,
1.5 million reasons, or maybe even more, that he could come here.
that's a recruiting tool in itself, right?
He's playing his last year of high school basketball, prep basketball. He's playing a prep school in Hurricane, Utah Prep, for a program that BYU's already has relationships with.
After they just hired one of their former coaches, too, right?
I mean, yeah, there's
all sorts of
relationships there. They're already recruiting one of his teammates and have been. So, yeah, it's not crazy. It's not outrageous. It's not such a pipe dream. It's a possibility. Is BYU the favorite? I have no idea. But he already had an on-campus visit.
Yes. Unofficial, right?
Yes.
But Mitch Harper got to sit down with him, and here are a couple little chunks of what we had heard. Here's what he said about what Kevin Young kind of brings to the table in terms of a guy who, what kind of a force he already is in the coaching circles, the respect that some of these players already have and know of this guy. Here's what AJ Dabansa said about Kevin Young and what he's able to bring to the table as a coach.
I mean, it was good. I mean, obviously, I'm up the street from it, so I mean, I was like, why not take unofficial and see what they have to offer? So I met up with the whole staff, the whole basketball staff, and they just talked me through what it's like, and hopefully they can get me on an official visit. 95%. I mean, obviously, he was saying that obviously he knows my goal is league, and he's been working with league guys for however long he has been, so that was his like motto, like he can get me there since he knows what it takes.
Not a bad thing to be able to have in your back
and
pocket.
Again, it comes back to Kevin Young, and I will beat this drum. BYU landing Kevin Young was such a phenomenal hire, and this is the exact same reason. What do you have to do to get an elite talent to come to play for your university? You need to have a blueprint and a plan to get them to the NBA, to get them to the league. And a lot of coaches will talk about it. A lot of coaches will say it. Kevin Young's lived it. Kevin Young was the league. He was in the league. He can pull out his phone, call up Chris Paul, get Chris Paul on FaceTime, and say, "Hey AJ, here, let me listen to Chris Paul. He'll talk about what we worked and what we did, and I can do the same for you. I can get you where he is. He can tell you what I've done to help his game." Devin Booker. You mean he can go through his contacts on his iPhone and tell AJ DeBanza, talk to this guy and this guy and this guy, this all-star and this all-star and this all-star. Kevin Durant, you've been playing ball, and by the way, DeBanza has been playing ball with Kevin Durant. There's connections here, guys. Like, again, this is not like a pie in the sky. Like, there's reasons why he's here making – it's possible, okay? But Kevin Young can do that. And when has BYU ever had a coach that could do that? When has maybe since Rick Majerus have you had a coach that could do that kind of stuff? Those things matter. Relationships matter. What a coach's experience is matters. And now, in this day and age, if you want to be able to go get kids to come to your school, the pitch is not the same as it was even 5 years ago. It's about NIL. It's about the league. Unless you don't think they're good enough for the league, and then you have other things you can go to. But if you want the elite talent, this is the game you got to play.
I wonder, too, if there's a moment now that, I mean, at some point, you're gathering so much momentum, and everybody's talking about you, and you're already landing. It's not about – see, there's one thing if Diego Dumman, that was my Eastern European was that a good accent?
That was pretty good.
All right. So if he does, because I hear AJ DeBanza talk, and you're like, it doesn't sound. It just sounds like it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, look, I'll take a listen. If they're lucky, they can get an official out of me, right? That was kind of the vibe that he put off. Like, this is, yeah, maybe. I mean, I'll listen to whatever they have to say. I mean, literally now it's like, I'll see what they have to offer, and he's literally talking about they're talking about numbers.
Yeah.
They're talking about numbers.
Yeah.
And at some point, what keeps coming back to me, JJ, is when you sit down with the coaching staff at football in the football offices, their thing is we're not even going to have a conversation with kids if their number one thing is how much are you going to give me. And Kevin Young and his staff seem to be putting it right out there that they're fine to have that conversation. And so is there something missing on that side? It's a tough thing to get into with football because football is a lot more guys on your roster.
Yeah, it's 100. You're looking for 5 solid players in the college. I mean, it's different. Completely different.
So you can build a roster. And when they say, I mean, what was the number that Pitino put out there last year? And this is St. John's, right? And he was like, we need $6 million to put together a Sweet 16 roster. It was something along those lines, right? It was some crazy. It was like between $4 and $6 million just to compete. And that's
they came and got Davon Smith from Utah. They took Utah's second best player.
And what was the whole thing was, if you have the ability to be able, and when these coaches make these statements, they're basically asking the alumni base to put that money together, right?
Yes.
In a school like St. John's, you go, look, we've already got a Hall of Fame coach in our back pocket. Why don't we, and we're already paying him $1 gajillion a year, why don't we just throw it out there and let's be a part of the conversation? If St. John's basketball can be in the final, or in the Elite Eight, or maybe the Final Four, cross your fingers. It's not crazy to think, right? That's the conversation that they're having. BYU is having these type of recruiting successes that teams out east, JJ, have. Duke, your Miami's, periodically will have these massive recruits go down. I mean, take a pick. Villanova. I mean, it's a reason that, like, Jay Wright couldn't do it anymore because it's just like, this is a hassle. It's too much of a hassle.
Nick Saban on the football side.
Too much of a hassle.
Nick Saban's done. He didn't want to deal with the stuff.
But it's obvious that that's the thing that wins these battles.
He misses his bag man.
It's crazy. It's bonkers. He misses his bag man.
He liked doing it illegally. He didn't like this out in the open stuff.
Hey, Patino's all, where's my Adidas guy? Where's that guy at? Oh, yeah. Prison. Sorry. Whoops.
Oops.
So, bottom line is, if you are trying to build a roster in college basketball in 2024, the blueprint is what BYU is doing right now. It's so much more complicated in football. It's not as easy as just going, hey, throw some money at the guys. Hey, do you want football to succeed? You better throw money at it. That's not really the answer necessarily. Here's what else A.J. DeBanza had to say about what he wants to do and what he wants to do in college, even if it is just for 1 year.
One is family-orientated. I'm going to be away from my family. 2 is a development. Obviously, I want to be a one and done. And 3 is just a winning program. Like, obviously, I'm going to be there hopefully for only 1 year, so I want to win a national championship is my goal.
Isn't that funny that the goal is just like, my big dream is to be a one and done. It's my big dream. What a joke that college basketball has become in terms of, don't throw the word college in front of it.
I know.
Just say NBA light, and here we are. Like, that's where we're at.
It's just become an NBA prep situation, right?
I just am so excited to.
It's just prep school for the NBA.
That's become my huge goal. My mom always said, you could go to college for 1 year if you really try hard enough.
Mama's not stupid. Go 1 year and get paid.
Go 1 year, and then let's get it going. And by the way, go to college and get paid while you're in college.
The whole dang point, why did we go to college? So eventually we could learn the skills to get a job. I'm not going to blame the kid. If he's that good, year 1, go get paid. Go make a living. Take care of your family. That's what it's all about. It's great.
Somebody just asked you, are you guys really only saying BYU's the only team that pays to play? No.
Oh, are you kidding me? No.
No, we're just saying that BYU's we're getting up to speed now.
We're surprised that BYU's now playing this game.
Yeah, getting up to speed, man.
And it's a good thing. This is what it takes. And they've got the resources and the people to do it.
It's not an accident. This is a plan that they have had.
And I'm telling you.
They had to make some really, really tough decisions to say, we have to be willing to play this game at a high level with these other schools, and people are going to criticize us. People are going to criticize BYU as an institution, even people inside the institution, even people who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are going to say, what are they doing this for? It just seems like the priorities are out of whack. But the reality is that this is the front porch of the university, and they know that. And Shane Reese, the president of the university, knows it. Absolutely knows it. And so that's why we're not surprised. No, we're not announcing BYU's the only one that's paying guys to come to their school.
I think more schools need to do this.
Of course we are.
This is what's going to take. Look, up at Utah, you want to restore the glory of the past?
Better get going.
It's going to take a booster. This is how it's going to work. If you want to get A.J. DeBanza to come to your school, you're going to need $1.5 to $2 million to even start the conversation. This is college basketball in 2024, 2025. If you want to compete at that level, it's going to cost you.
Yeah. All right. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. I promise we're going to get to our top fives for the 1660. Stay right here with us, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
I actually love the promise of BYU basketball.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. Pretty soon, we're going to be able to have our debate ongoing with Hanson Scotty's yearly 1660 list. The back and forth is there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on because there's a lot of talented players in the state, and I would think that it gets harder and harder. Actually, I know it is. I know it gets harder every year for Hanson Scotty and Lloyd to put this together because the transfer market is so freaking hard.
Oh, yeah.
How are you supposed to figure this out?
Yeah, most of the Utah State Aggie players are transfers, including their quarterback. Like, how do you adequately match them up and decide between some of the other players that are more well-established that we've seen in the state? I don't know.
Okay. So before we get into our NFL roundup here, let's jump into our top fives that we have for our list. Number one, this is without you and I consulting one another.
We're going to start with number one, or are we going to start with number five?
Number five, not having consulted one another. Number five on my list, Utah State Aggie Jalen Royals.
All right.
Number five. Who's your number five?
Tyler Batty, BYU.
Okay. Number four on my list, and my highest BYU Cougar, Ben Bywater. my number 4. Your number 4.
Jalen Royals, Utah State.
Okay.
So we're close there.
All right. My number 3 on the list, Brant Keithy.
We didn't consult. We promise. My number 3 is Brant Keithy.
Is it really?
Yes.
All right.
Assuming he's right.
See,
assuming he's back healthy.
I had a back and forth in my head because I wanted to put. I thought that because I don't know. It's hard to put a defensive player higher, but it's hard to imagine. And sometimes we forget how good of a year that Lander Barton had, and the hype that Lander Barton has. And by the way, he's lived up to every second of it when he's on the field now. I have Lander Barton as my number 2.
I also have Lander Barton number 2.
Look at that. What are you shaking your head about in there, Jeremy?
It's fine.
Jeremy's acting like somebody
That's fine?
somebody cheated.
That's
I
fine.
mean, we've almost been identical.
And my number 1, this is going to shock you, Waylon Lapuaho, BYU guard. No, I'm just kidding. Come on. Cam Rising. I can't not put Cam number 1.
It's Cam. It's Cam Rising.
And I'm not trying to be that guy.
No player in the state has the impact he has on Utah.
If Brant Keithy would have had the year that he had right before, if Brant Keithy would have had the year that he had last year and he was coming into this, he would be number 2, absolutely, on this list. And I still think Cam would be number 1.
He's missed almost 2 seasons.
Even Cam Rising. I know, and that's why it's
Brant
hard.
Keithy's played 4 games in 2 seasons. So you trust the numbers. You trust the resume. And that's why I've got him at 3, but he's got to go out and show everybody again who he is and what he's about.
I'm not trying to be so Tyler Batty I put at number 8. I still had him top 10.
It's okay. I think you really
You think
can.
Ben Bywater's too high? I mean, obviously you think he's too high.
I
but,
have Ben Bywater at number 9.
Okay, so he's top 10 for you too. See, at some point, that kind of 10 through 7, 10 through 6.
This is hard.
These are a lot of really good
players. We're sitting there working out here live on the radio. This is really hard to pick who's better than who. It's like tiny things.
All right, so
who's the best cornerback in the state? Zemiah Vaughn or Jacob Robinson?
Oh, see, that's great. See, Jacob Robinson's a top 10 guy for me too. Number 10 for me.
So I'm telling you right now, I have Zemiah Vaughn 1 spot ahead of him at 10, and I have Jacob Robinson at 11.
Isn't that funny how we don't talk about these things? But then we have not talked about this. We did I think that no, that's not true. We both had said that Cam Rising was going to be tops of the list.
That seems obvious, right? Isn't that obvious to anybody?
I don't know. I think people will
Who's number 1 over Cam?
People will criticize us still. It's fine.
You could make the case, but I need somebody to make the case.
Is this as slam dunk as a number 1 as we've had? I mean, last year, was Cam number 1 on everybody's list last year too?
I think so.
I say everybody. Probably was, but like, how far can you put up a Dorian Singer right now? How far do you put up like a guy like Mekhi Bernard, who had last year off?
Mekhi Bernard is in my top 15.
Should be.
Yep.
Because if he's healthy, he's as good of a player as really anybody in the top 10.
I think I had him at 12.
If he is healthy, which we think he is.
His versatility and his playmaking ability.
And if they ask more of him than we think. I mean, the reality is that their running back room is really, really good right now. And so if Mekhi Bernard is like their 1A, he might end up being a top 5 guy if he lives up to that potential, right? So these are all questions. So there you go. Where did we differ then? Just in 5 and 4?
Who was your number 6?
Oh, I gotta go back in.
Did you have Ike Larson in your top 10?
Yes, Ike Larson
good.
was 8 for me.
Okay. I don't think we were too different. I had Karene Reed in the top 10. I have it number 8.
Yeah, see, Karene Reed's one of those guys too.
Did you have Tafuna top 10?
I docked him because last year I put him up high. And
he did not deliver on. I had him.
It was a little bit of the conversation
the
conversation we had about Connor O'Toole. I don't know if we had that on the air or off the air.
No, it was during the commercial break.
Where he has all this hype and he has all this that we're talking about, and it's just as hard because
he got hurt.
Yes, it's hard because he's not I mean, Junior Tafuna is also a defensive tackle, so it's harder to because you're not going to go.
Logan Fano might be a top 20, top
Yes.
15 guy this year, but he's coming off an ACL injury and he only played 3 or 4
Where was
games.
Kingsley last year?
Cam was first last year and the year before.
And the year before?
I think Kingsley was 2, wasn't he? 2 or
Kingsley was
3?
up there. He was like either 2 or 3.
And as far as talent goes, yeah, he was 2 or 3 last
Yeah.
year. If not number 1.
So we'll see. All right.
There you go. But the production on the field didn't match the talent. That happens. Guys get injured.
Did LJ Martin make your top 15? Top 20?
I don't think I have any running back in the top 20.
Gosh, what are you, the
Isn't that
NFL?
crazy?
What are you, the NFL?
But he is in the 20s. Him and Jalen Glover I have and Rasul Faison.
How do you rate a guy like Jack Kelly? Because that was a name that kept coming up for me. And I was going,
I had him mid-20s.
and again, he could be a guy by the end of the year that ends up top 10.
Exactly.
He could be a top 10 guy.
100%. Where
All
do you
right.
have Van Fillinger?
Van Fillinger fell out for me just because, again, hadn't seen. But it's the same reason But why didn't I don't know, because Cam Rising's been injured and I put him number 1 again. So maybe I should be
But
putting
Cam Rising has a heck of a resume.
That's true. Maybe I should put Van Fillinger in there at his number 7.
I think I had him right at 15.
See, and last year I bet Van Fillinger was
Top 10.
top 10. Yeah. All right. We've got a lot of names still to discuss. Man, it is impossible, man. I'm telling you. And when you have to put somebody at 50 and 57 and 60.
That's still, when you consider that each team has 100 players in the state.
Yes.
Including Weber State, Southern Utah, Utah Tech, all the schools in the state.
Yeah.
When you consider that, I mean, being the top 60 that's incredible.
Okay.
We've talked about this. There's not a BYU quarterback on the 60 and 60 list.
Should not
Not
be.
one.
Should not be.
Right. So what does that tell you? Like,
Right.
if you're top 60 on this list, you're a good player.
Okay, so, but if you have that, but you don't have, but you have Chase Roberts and Keanu Hill and
Darius Lassiter.
all on the list, like as wide. Well, I guess Keanu Hill's a tight end now.
Cody Epps is on the list.
Cody Epps is on the list. How can you have all those guys on there and guys that don't throw to them?
That's a big concern. Now you know why.
That's tough.
Now you know why there's so much concern. Like, if you have that much talent, but you don't have somebody that's going to be able to get them the ball on a consistent basis, you have a problem. They might. Our concerns about the quarterback room may be unfounded once those guys get out there and prove what they can do. Or if our fears are realized, then it could make it really difficult for that offense to have success. And they'll get punished severely like they did the second half of last season.
Who would be somebody in your top 5 that would fall out of the top 5? That could fall out of the top 5 very easily.
Because of health or performance?
Anything.
If Utah State really struggles, does Jalen Royal stay in my top 5? He's got to, obviously you have to be productive.
You got to have a quarterback throwing to you too.
You have a quarterback in Spencer Petras who is a proven quarterback at Iowa.
But Iowa quarterbacks are not proven, by the way.
Right.
Like, come on.
I have Spencer in the top 15, but that's based on his performance and numbers at Iowa and his experience and what I've been hearing. I mean, he won that job in spring. He was that good. Apparently, he's got a cannon for an arm, and he's got weapons. It's not just Jalen Royals. It's Micah Davis up there, too. And Faison's back. They got a good running back. That's a good offense. They just need to have an offensive line that can protect him, and that's a major concern. Because last year, as good as Jalen Royals was, their quarterback, whoever it was, had 0.2 seconds to get rid of the ball. The fact that Jalen Royals was as productive as he was last year was a miracle.
With multiple quarterbacks.
What's he going to do with a guy in the back with a cannon for an arm?
Okay.
I think Jalen Royals could have a massive year statistically. They're going to throw the ball a lot.
I did have something to bring up in our NFL Blitz. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Gosh, we didn't even get
a lot of news.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey getting paid.
McCaffrey, highest paid deal ever for a running back, right?
Tua wants to get paid.
Tua at least is showing up to workouts, right? I always love when guys don't show up. The no-shows for me are hard. Oh, yeah, CeeDee Lamb, of course, is not going to show up. I know, but I think that kind of shows you that Tua is at least going, not only do I want to be here, I'm here, but let's figure something out. Okay. I do have a soundbite for you, though. We have that Kirk Cousins soundbite? Kirk Cousins at a press conference talking about, taking care of his O-line, because you got to do it, albeit in a very weird way for a guy who is a 9-figure dude. So let's take a listen to what. First of all, this is meandering, right? Because this is OTAs, which means you get OTA-type soundbites, which is why you started with Ben Stiller's classic heavyweights as a conversation, moving right along to some of the chain restaurants that he's going to take his own linemen to. So here is Kirk Cousins in Atlanta talking about getting things going in the locker room, at least from a leadership perspective.
First of all, Jake is my generation, right? So, like, when we talk about the sweet spot movies, I'll quote, heavyweights with Ben Stiller, and it's just crickets. And then I'll get a laugh from way over in the other side of the locker room from Jake Matthews because he knows the reference. Taylor Heineke's close. He's like 4 or 5 years behind me, but that's close enough where we can kind of hang with our shared sense of humor with movies. So I'm thinking about having a watch party with the O-line where we watch heavyweights to introduce these guys to heavyweights. But we're going to Texas Roadhouse tomorrow, so that's our first thing. We're kind of checking out these chain restaurants, RIP Red Lobster. So we're going to go to Texas Roadhouse, but maybe we'll get a heavyweights watch party before the OTA's end.
America's quarterback.
Yeah.
Taking people to Texas Roadhouse. By the way, you have $100 million in your back pocket and you take your O-line to Texas Roadhouse. Are you offended, or do you think that that's a nice move? He's an all-American guy. He's just like you and me, JJ. He gets the honey butter rolls at Texas Roadhouse. He's just like one of us.
Don't they have the free peanuts?
I think they're one of many locations that do free peanuts. Five Guys for sure. Oh, they do. They do the barrels of the peanuts too.
The rolls are pretty good.
Rolls are good. The Cheddar Bay Biscuit is undefeated.
Rest in peace, Cheddar Bay Biscuit.
Actually, yeah,
we'll miss you.
Actually, they're not undefeated.
And endless shrimp.
Oh,
I got a box at home I'll make. So
yeah, I was gonna say I think they sell them. You got to keep that. You got to keep that train going, right? Sell the branded Cheddar Bay Biscuit. Although in this day of the internet, somebody out there has a copycat recipe that is probably exactly like it. By the way, one of my number one go-to recipes that I make on Sunday mornings, biscuits. I'm a biscuit guy.
Biscuits? Do you do the gravy too?
No.
No.
Because my kids don't like it.
Oh, that's not right.
It's a failing on my end.
That's like peanut butter without the jelly.
Yeah, but you know what we do? We make the sausage biscuits. I do the sausage all there. I make the biscuit.
Okay, kind of like a
little faux McDonald's, only way better. All right?
A breakfast sandwich.
Yes, a breakfast Sammy. Put the egg on there. Yeah, my kids aren't into the gravy. I'm like, you guys got to wake up. Let's go. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got our best and worst right around the corner, so stay right here with us, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Welcome back. It's JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Keary, Jeremiah Jensen. JJ walking off to do some TV. So we'll get our best and worst to you as quickly and as well as possible without JJ here in the actual room. He's here in the building. Don't worry. For an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram, this portion of the show, our best and worst, brought to you by Doug Smith Dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. Great service starts with know-how, and nobody knows like Doug. Best of the day. Now, we've been heaping praise on Kyrie Irving a lot, Jeremy, over the last little bit, just because, well, he seems to have figured some stuff out. And, one of the big parts of that is him admitting, you know what, I have grown a lot. He said that, right? I've grown a lot. Did the mental health thing, got looked after by some experts who said, hey, let's get you in a good spot. He's playing some of the best basketball. He's revitalized himself and his career as well. How about his first signature shoe from his new line, the Anta shoe?
I believe so. ANTA.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's a new shoe line because, of course, he's not with Nike anymore. Mm-hmm.
Nope.
But he started his own new shoe line, and it's going to be the signature shoe, the very first one that are hot off the presses, are going to be his dad's shoe, his dad's signature shoe.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. His father, Diedrich, who also played at Boston University, also played professionally down in Australia. And look, for all the things that we don't love about Kyrie's past, this is a pretty cool thing that he's done right here.
Well, the past year, like you said, figured stuff out. He's had a lot of controversial things to discuss.
Yes, and that's been, I'm willing to give somebody a second chance, right? So I'm all about it. I'm all about that. It's an awesome story, so that's cool. The worst of the day, Colts safety Daniel Scott. You hate to see this stuff. He is going to miss the entire season, tore his Achilles, okay, during OTAs. But he also missed his rookie season with a torn ACL. That is just the freaking worst to hear, right?
2+ years, approximately.
The Achilles, we know is not. I know Aaron Rodgers.
He was ready.
He's like, give me a 5-week window, I should be good. And then he's like, maybe I'll punt it till the end of the season.
We're not in the playoffs, I guess not.
Yeah, no. That's dumb.
That's
all
tough,
right.
Man.
That's a bummer. I don't know diddly about Daniel Scott, except for that he missed last year with his torn ACL as a rookie, but then he just tore his Achilles. That's awful. Hope that kid can have a career after all those setbacks. All right, we will take the break here. We'll come back. We got more to go around the corner, so stay right here with us. Keep it dialed in. 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.